streets in protest of rising energy prices and soaring costs of living in their countries. In countries like the Czech Republic, Austria, France, Germany, and others, protesters are beginning to demand their governments keep their own countries' national interests above the interests of Ukraine. And this is beginning to worry the United States of America, which now thinks that Putin's campaign to strong-arm Europe into submission might just be working. Last Thursday, US President Joe Biden held a private video conference with over a dozen Western leaders. He had just one message for them. According to CNN, that message was, Europe must stay unified in punishing Russia despite Moscow trying to weaponize energy and break Western resolve. This was Biden's second such plea to European heads of states. Washington's request for Europe to remain united against Russia came amid skyrocketing energy prices that have made life rather miserable for ordinary people in the continent. The United States, as well as the European Commission, are now increasingly of the opinion that Putin's weaponization of oil and gas could fracture the bloc's unity and threaten the continuity of economic sanctions against Moscow. European nations face palpable threats of social unrest breaking out on the streets. Ordinary citizens simply don't see any sense in punishing Russia if it means they'd have to live under darkness and without heat over the coming months. This is another factor which is worrying the United States. US officials closely monitored a recent protest against high energy prices in the Czech Republic and are keeping a close eye on any signs of growing instability in Europe. Threats of a social unrest could immediately reverse the anti-Russian path European countries are walking on. EU member states are already clashing over the European Commission's proposal to place a price cap on Russian gas supplies. Some major European players are of the conviction that if a price cap is indeed imposed, it must be implemented over all energy imports and not just those from Russia. That is something which isn't really acceptable to gas exporting nations of the West. Their conviction to punish Russia remains steadfast only as long as their own financial fortunes remain secure. So, when over a dozen European countries, including France and Poland, called for the cap to be imposed on all gas supplies, including LNG, EU's Energy Commissioner, Kadri Simpson, warned that such an approach would, quote-unquote, present a security of supply challenge. Countries that are heavily reliant on Russian energy, like Hungary, Slovakia, and Austria, have warned that Putin could respond to a price cap by simply cutting off gas supply. Their fears are hardly misplaced, as Moscow has warned it would do just that with any country supporting a price cap mechanism. With what promises to be a cruel winter season, do you think European nations will succumb to Russian pressure? Do let us know in the comments.